Unlike Maha Kassapa and Bhaddā Kāpilānī, Anojā Devī doesn't get to tell her story with Maha Kapphina in Tipitaka. Greetings, I'm Dr. Marlai Ouch. I have been working to help revive Khmer Cambodian Bhikkhuni Sangha for some time now. For the Therigatha Festival, I will use 4.1 Bhaddākāpilānītherīgāthā to introduce my presentation and then transition to Anojā Devī. She is an outstanding Bhikkhuni in Athakatha and in my Khmer list of 50 foremost and outstanding Bhikkhunis, and maybe the link of Khmer Bhikkhunis to the time of the Buddha. However, unlike Maha Kassapa and Bhaddā Kāpilānī, Anojā Devī doesn't get to tell her story with Maha Kapphina in Tipitaka, like the Khmer Bhikkhuni Sangha is being denied in certain sects of Khmer Buddhism. 4.1 Bhaddākāpilānītherīgāthā by Athakatha. Son of the Buddha, and his heir is he. Great Kassapa, his mind serene, collected. Vision of previous lives is his. Heaven and hell he penetrates. The ceasing of rebirth he has obtained, and supernatural knowledge he has mastered. With these three knowledges possessed by him, he is a Brahman true, of threefold knowledge. So has she, too, Bhaddākāpilānī, gained for herself the threefold knowledge and has vanquished death. Having bravely vanquished Mara and his host, it is the last formation of a body that she bears. Seeing the world's deep misery, we both went forth, and are now both free of cankers, with well-tamed minds. Cool of passion, we have found deliverance. Cool of passions, we have found our freedom. Like Maha Kassapa and Bhaddā Kāpilānī, per Athakatha, Book 6, the wise man, Pandita Vega, Anojā Devī and Maha Kapphina performed good merits together in previous lives. When they were born as weavers, Anojā Devī took upon herself to organize her villagers together of 1,000 to attend 1,000 private Buddhas for 3 months during the rainy season. When they were born as householders of Benares in the dispensation of the Buddha Kassapa along with their villagers, Maha Kapphina organized the householders to contribute money and build a monastery and to offer a set of robes to 20,000 monks. However, Anojā Devī was determined with her wisdom to do more to honor the Buddha by offering a garment of the color of the Anojā flowers that was worth 1,000 pieces of money and a casket of Anojā flowers. In their last life, they were born in royal households. Maha Kapphina was named King Kapphina the Great of the city Gugutavati, and Anojā Devī became his queen as Queen Anojā from the kingdom of Mada. Anojā Devī had a strong faith and intelligence for the sake of 3 jewels as Maha Kapphina did, if not stronger. Per Athakatha, Book 6, the wise man, Pandita Vega. Like Maha Kapphina, Anojā Devī learned of the 3 jewels and gave 300 pieces of money in addition to 100,000 pieces of money that Maha Kapphina gave to the merchant for each news of the 3 jewels. The Buddha had arisen, the Dharma had arisen, the Sangha had arisen. Like Maha Kapphina, Anojā Devī renounced her real glory with the wives of the ministers for the sake of the teacher to become a nun. She said, the glory that spells suffering to the king also spells suffering to her, and said, who would get down on one's knees and take into one's mouth a mass of saliva ejected by the king? I have no need of real glory. Like Maha Kapphina, Anojā Devī crossed 3 rivers with an act of truth. Seeing no sign of horse footprints of Maha Kapphina and his ministers, she said, the king must have pronounced an act of truth, saying, "For the sake of the 3 jewels, I have renounced the world," and so crossed. I also have renounced the world for the sake of the 3 jewels. By the supernatural power, may this water be to me unlike water. Meditating on the power of the 3 jewels, she ordered her 1,000 chariots to go forth. The water was like a flat rock, not even the outer rims of the wheels got wet. Like Maha Kapphina, Anojā Devī saw the ray of light of 6 colors from the body of the Buddha. The teacher preached Dharma in orally sequence. Anojā Devī and the wives of the ministers were established the fruit of stream entry. They then requested to be admitted to the order. Although Athakatha Book 6, the wise men, Bandita Vega, describe all of them enjoying glory like the glory of the king, since they had performed works of merit as one company. They also enjoy equal glory as one company. The women didn't receive the same glory when it came to their ordination. While Maha Kapphina and his ministers ordained as monks magically with bowls and robes, because the Buddha was aware of them giving 1,000 robes to 1,000 private Buddhas when they were born as weavers, giving 20,000 robes to 20,000 monks in the dispensation of the Buddha Kassapa when they were born as householders. For the ordination of Anojā Devī and the wives of the ministers who perform works of merit with Maha Kapphina and his ministers with equally strong faith and intelligent, if not stronger. Instead of the Buddha talking, some of the monks said the teacher thought of the coming of a Balavana, but the teacher said to those female lay disciples, "Go to Savatthi and enter the religious life in the convent of nuns." The Buddha's voice was lost on the ordination of Anojā Devī and the wife of the ministers. Because Maha Kapphina and his ministers were ordained as monks magically by the Buddha, saying, "Come, monks, take up the religious life that you may early extinguish suffering." They were provided with the 8 monastic requisites immediately. They appear like elders a century old. They first flew into the air and returned to earth. As for Anojā Devī and the wife of the ministers, they started out on foot and journeyed from place to place. People offered them hospitality and bestowed honor upon them. After a journey of 1,020 leagues, Anojā Devī and the wives of the ministers reached the convent of nuns, were admitted to the order, and attained arahantship. While the Buddha took the 1,000 monks with him and flew through the air to Jetavana. Unlike Maha Kassapa and Bhaddā Kāpilānī, Anojā Devī didn't get to tell her story with Maha Kapphina in the Tipitaka. Anojā Devī's name is not found in a verse with her own voice in Tipitaka. Only Chief Queen is mentioned in the Maha Kapphina. Her story is not told in Tipitaka other than a brief description of Maha Kapphina, Chief Queen in the Maha Kapphina. Even in Athakatha, Anojā Devī's name appears in Maha Kapphina's stories only. Therefore, the voices of Queen Anojā Devī and her royal ladies of 1,000 have been denied from Tipitaka. In addition, Queen Anojā Devī and her royal ladies of 1,000 may be the link of the Khmer Bhikkhuni Sangha to the time of the Buddha. Queen Anojā Devī was the wife of King Kapphina of the city Gugudawati, which is generally accepted by among the scholar community as part of ancient Cambodia. Like Queen Anojā Devī and her royal ladies of 1000, the Khmer Bhikkhuni Sangha is being denied in a certain sect of Khmer Buddhism. In Khmer dictionary, Sikkhamana is defined in Khmer language, which I translated as a seminary who is 18 years of age, has received an approval to train in the 8 Guru Dharmas. In Khmer we say Guru Thoprambayang, for 2 years to become a Bhikkhuni. Whereas in the Bhikkhuni Vibhanga of Khmer Tipitaka in volume 5, pages 318 to 320, 369, and 372, Sikkhamana is defined as a trainee nun who must train for 2 years in the 6 rules. In Khmer we say Thopramoyang before taking the high ordination. The 6 rules are the first 6 precepts. 1. Abstaining from killing living beings for 2 years without transgression. 2. Abstaining from stealing for 2 years without transgression. 3. Abstaining from sexual activity for 2 years without transgression. 4. Abstaining from lying for 2 years without transgression. 5. Abstaining from alcohol, which causes heedlessness for 2 years without transgression. And 6. Abstaining from eating at the wrong time for 2 years without transgression. So Khmer dictionaries use the 8 Guru Dharmas, or Guru Thoprambayang, whereas the Khmer Vinaya Tipitaka, which is the authoritative source, uses the 6 rules, or Thopramoyang, as the rule that a Sikkhamana must train in for 2 years before taking the higher ordination. In Khmer dictionaries, the word seminary is defined and translated as, see in the word seminara, if a woman is a seminary, but now it does not exist. The phrase added in parentheses is the opinion of the editor and is different from the historical documents of the Bhikkhuni lineage, which continues through modern time. Also, in Khmer dictionary, the word Bhikkhuni is defined and translated as a female monk is a woman ordained as a bhikkhu, existed only in the time of the Buddha and in Buddhism of the past. Today does not exist. The phrase added in parentheses is the opinion of the editor and is different from the historical documents of the Bhikkhuni lineage, which continues through modern time. In Khmer Tipitaka, volume 28, page 225, where the Buddhist teaching on the foremost dana is to the dual Sangha of Bhikkhus and Bhikkhunis headed by the Buddha. The footnote in this section added an opinion in parentheses that I translated as, there are no Bhikkhunis in modern time, only Bhikkhus, therefore only Bhikkhu Sangha headed by the Buddha. The sentence added in parentheses is the opinion of the editor and is different from the historical documents of the Bhikkhuni lineage, which continues through modern time. These obstacles for women in certain sects of Khmer Buddhism have great consequences not only for women but also for Buddhism and society. Adding and or modifying with opinions in parentheses or not in authoritative documents such as dictionaries and Tipitaka makes those opinions appearing as authoritative sources for those who don't generally read those documents with a critical lens. They continue telling those opinions to the audience and use those opinions to deny an opportunity for girls from learning Buddhism fully. For example, the incorrect definition of Sikkhamana in the Khmer dictionaries has been used, shared, and taught, which spread the incorrect definition further and increases the number of people with this misunderstanding. Dharma talk is another example of those consequences. Dharma talks given by some Khmer Bhikkhus and Dharma teachers are mirror to those opinions and are denying the existence of Bhikkhunis in modern time and invalidating the ordination of modern Bhikkhunis, which deny an opportunity for girls and women to become Bhikkhunis. The incorrect definition of Sikhamana and the opinion added in parentheses of no seminary and no Bhikkhunis in modern time in the original Khmer dictionary are found in the 4th edition printed in 1967 and have been transferred to other Khmer dictionaries and continue to this day for more than 50 years. If this error doesn't get corrected and those opinions don't get removed, the number of people with this misunderstanding will increase to the entire Khmer population and into the future generation. Likewise, the opinion added in the footnote of Khmer Tipitaka, Volume 28, page 225, as there are no Bhikkhunis in modern time, only Bhikkhus, therefore, only Bhikkhu Sangha headed by the Buddha, is found in the 2nd edition printed in 1963 and continued to this day for almost 60 years. If this opinion doesn't get removed, the number of people with this misunderstanding will increase to the entire Khmer population and into the future generation. Furthermore, the incorrect definition of Sikhamana, the opinions of no seminary and no Bhikkhunis in modern time, in the Khmer dictionaries, and in Khmer Tipitaka, and Dharma talks reinforcing the error, and those opinions have caused some individuals to look down at women in Buddhism. Below are a few examples of the responses that I received from some individual from the Khmer community when I shared modern Bhikkhunis activity in late 2020 to early 2021. Individual A, with more Bhikkhunis and young seminaries, soon temple will be full of pregnancies. The Buddha Sasana will be messy. Wait and see if you don't believe me. Individual B, if women practice the Buddha's teaching properly, how come they caused the Bhikkhuni lineage to be broken thousands of years already? Individual C, soon temples will be full of pregnancy. Do not worry. Buddhism is on the verge of extinction. Individual D, that is not seminary, that is white robe nun. In other words, Mary takes monk's robes to wear. Both the Khmer Tipitaka and the original Khmer dictionary were published by the Buddhist Institute of Cambodia. I have written and made a video for each of the obstacles and their consequences of the error of the definition of Sikhamana and the opinions of no seminaries and no Bhikkhunis, and share them publicly. I also started to add those videos on the Facebook of the Buddhist Institute of Cambodia on April 3rd, 2021. However, I haven't received a response from the institution yet. Despite these obstacles for women in a certain sect of Khmer Buddhism, like Anojā Devī, Khmer women have strong faith and intelligence, and a few of them have pushed themselves through these barriers to ordain as Theravada seminaries and as Theravada Bhikkhuni. We now have 1 Khmer Bhikkhuni and at least 5 Khmer seminaries in this world. The first Khmer Bhikkhuni, Venerable Medajivi, was ordained as a seminary by her teacher, a Khmer Bhikkhu, and ordained as a Bhikkhuni by her Sri Lankan preceptor in Sri Lanka on February 18, 2018. She heard about the 13 ancient Arahante Bhikkhunis from her Khmer Bhikkhu teachers that got her inspired to enter a monastic life. 6.6 Maha Kapphina impacted the first Khmer Bhikkhuni, Venerable Medajivi, the most. O Buddha, my hero, homage to you. Supreme among all beings, who release me from suffering, and many other beings as well. All suffering is fully understood. Craving, its cause, is dried up. The Eightfold Path has been developed, and cessation has been realized by me. Previously, I was a mother, a son, a father, a brother, and a grandmother. Failing to grasp the true natures of things, I have transmigrated without reward. Since I've seen the Blessed One, this bag of bones is my last. Transmigration through birth is finished. Now there will be no more future lives. I see the disciples in harmony, energetic, and resolute, always staunchly vigorous. This is homage to the Buddhas. It was truly for the benefit of many that Maya gave birth to Gautama. He swept away the mass of suffering for those stricken by sickness and death. Theravada Khmer Seminary Ratanayani was the youngest of 13 Khmer women who took a temporary seminary ordination in 2011 in USA that was organized and supported by her mother and had the support of the leading Khmer Bhikkhu, Venerable Saukhuan. She met real-life Bhikkhuni teachers and preceptors from Sri Lanka, Thailand, and USA, and was encouraged and strongly wished not to disrobe, and remains as a seminary as of today. Theravada Khmer Seminary Satajivi met the first Khmer Bhikkhuni when she was still a white-robed nun and became Dharma friends. She mainly stayed with the first Khmer Bhikkhuni and was experiencing what the first Khmer Bhikkhuni was experiencing. She went to ordain as a seminary in Sri Lanka with the first Khmer Bhikkhuni when she went to ordain as a Bhikkhuni. Two Theravada Khmer Kram seminaries, Ratanachitta and Thirachitta, undertook the seminary ordination in Kampuchea Kram in southern Vietnam by leading Bhikkhuni teacher and preceptor, Bhikkhuni Apajaya Vitita Dhamma Theri. Seminary Ratanachitta felt that following the Buddha's path was best for her and has been a seminary for more than 5 years. For seminary Thirachitta, seeing the struggles of her mother working to raise her sibling after her father's death inspired her to enter a monastic life. She has been a seminary for over 3 years now. They both have memorized the Pali Bhikkhuni Patimokkha and ready to take the higher ordination once COVID-19 pandemic is over. Khmer Theravada Seminary Jutindra was then a laywoman from Germany, joining our international Bhikkhuni Dhamma Yatra to Cambodia from December 18, 2019 to January 9, 2020. The Dhamma Yatra included 5 Theravada Bhikkhunis and 2 Theravada seminaries from Canada, Indonesia, Kampuchea Kram, Sri Lanka, and USA. 3 Bhikkhuni preceptors, Venerable Tataloka, Venerable Santini, and Venerable Sudina, and the first Khmer Bhikkhuni, Venerable Metajivi, were among the 5 Bhikkhunis. Venerable Bhikkhuni Tidajarani, PhD from Indonesia, was the 5th Bhikkhuni. As a laywoman, Jutindra requested to be and became an Anagarika during our Dhamma Yatra. From Venerable Bhikkhuni Preceptor, Venerable Tataloka on December 30, 2019. After the International Bhikkhuni Dhamma Yatra, Anagarika Jutindra continued her training at Ananja Vihara in Germany. She was ordained as a seminary at the Vihara on January 28, 2021 by Anojā Devī Bhikkhuni as her preceptor. As we can see, Khmer women of strong faith, intelligence, and dedication have stepped up to be the groundbreakers despite the obstacles. Also, Khmer Sangharajas have been supportive of Bhikkhunis for decades. In addition, there are Khmer Bhikkhus who have stepped up to be the groundbreakers to ordain women and provide education of the fourfold Sangha to both male and female in all ages. 3 Cambodian songwriters have been supportive of Bhikkhunis for decades. Cambodian patriarch Maha Kapphina participated in the 1987 International Conference on Buddhist nuns in Bhaddā and supported in reviving Bhikkhunis in traditions that have been lost. Cambodian Supreme Patriarch of Mahanikaya, Most Venerable Devī, was a patron of the historical 1998 Bhikkhuni ordination in Bhaddā and one of the leading members of the event. Samdachព្រះសង្ឃរាជាប៊ូគ្រី has accepted the Taiwanese Bhikkhuni Sangha under his branch for some time now and is in the process to establish a law to legalize Bhikkhunis in Cambodia. The revival of the Therigatha Festival Sangha in the Khmer community still hasn't been possible yet. It takes a dedicated women to step up who have the heart to face all obstacles and hurdles and be the groundbreakers. A Khmer Bhikkhu who was the first Khmer Bhikkhunis teacher told her about the 13 ancient Athakatha Bhikkhunis that got her inspired to enter a monastic life. With his practice of metta meditation on a regular basis, and out of his compassion, he ordained the first Khmer Bhikkhuni, who was a 10-precept nun then as a seminary. Thus, this Khmer Bhikkhu has stepped up to open the path for Khmer women to become Bhikkhunis that the Buddha had already opened for them. Great Khmer Bhikkhu, Venerable Yongsapat, understands the important roles and the contribution of the Buddha's disciples, who are made up of bhikkhus, bhikkhunis, laymen, and laywomen. Seeing that during the time of the Buddha, many people got to know the roles of the Buddha's disciples and their greatness. Now hardly any people knows about them. Venerable Yongsapat collected their story from Tipitaka and Athakatha and put them into history books of the fourfold Sangha. These books were written to be the light to help people to get to know the Buddha's foremost and outstanding disciples, including their roles, their characters, their temperaments, their practices, and their Dharma talks. Because the prosperity of Buddhism depends only on people's remembering, practicing, and teaching the Dharma to other people. The Buddha disciple, bhikkhus, bhikkhunis, laymen, and laywomen are the proofs and the witnesses. The Venerable concluded that the rise and the prosperity of Buddhism during the time of the Buddha depended on those foremost and outstanding disciples. Because of these reasons, Venerable Yongsapat put great efforts and time to put together these books for people to use as lights in modern time. Another great Khmer Bhikkhu, Venerable Juankakada, must have agreed with Venerable Yongsapat's reason for putting the books together and must have a similar goal when he created videos of the Buddha's foremost and outstanding disciples. His videos were taken directly from Venerable Yongsapat's books of 80, 50, 39, and 31, foremost and outstanding bhikkhus, bhikkhunis, laymen, and laywomen, respectively. The history books of Bhikkhunis have 50 foremost and outstanding Bhikkhunis during the time of the Buddha, and Anojā Devī is listed at number 37. The list of 50 foremost and outstanding Bhikkhunis came about when Venerable Tataloka, who was a student of Cambodian Patriarch Maha Kapphina, saw a Facebook post describing 28 foremost Bhikkhunis by a Khmer Bhikkhu. She then asked me if there was a Cambodian list of 28 foremost Bhikkhuni Arahantis. I then remembered listening to Dharma talks on foremost and outstanding 50 Bhikkhunis before, and asked the Venerable who gave the Dharma talks for his source of the 50 Bhikkhunis. The Venerable pointed me to the books written by Venerable Yongsapat. I searched for his books and found them at 5000years.org. When I found the list, I typed up the names for easy text searching and shared them back to Venerable Tataloka. Not long after that, she shared news about a historical heritage, Wat Divathidarama in Bangkok. It has an old royal Upasita hall called Bhikkhuni Vihara, and in it has 50 statues of Bhikkhunis. Because the Khmer list of 50 foremost and outstanding Bhikkhunis matches well with the 50 Bhikkhuni images at Wat Divathidarama, Venerable Tataloka superimposed the 50 names that she had also translated into English on a picture of the image of the 50 Bhikkhunis at Wat Divathidarama as shown here, with our merits and the quality of the foremost and outstanding Bhikkhunis in the time of the Buddha. However many they were, and whether or not their voice had been heard, may the Fourfold Sangha be fully recognized and supported in all traditions for the benefits of all beings. To conclude this presentation, I will read the names of the 50 foremost and outstanding Bhikkhunis from the Khmer list. 1. Venerable Lady Mahā Kapphina Theri. 2. Venerable Lady Khmer Theri. 3. Venerable Lady Balavana Theri. 4. Venerable Lady Bhaddākāpilānī Theri. 5. Venerable Lady Dhammadina Theri. 6. Venerable Lady Nanda Theri. 7. Venerable Lady Sona Theri. 8. Venerable Lady Sakula Theri. 9. Venerable Lady Bhaddā Kāpilānī Theri. 10. Venerable Lady Bhaddā Kāpilānī Theri. 11. Venerable Lady Bhaddākāpilānī Theri. 12. Venerable Lady Kisa Gotami Theri. 13. Venerable Lady Singalamata, aka Singalamata Theri. 14. Venerable Lady Goltida Theri. 15. Venerable Lady Japa Theri. 16. Venerable Lady Chala Theri. 17. Venerable Lady Jetta Theri. 18. Venerable Lady Therigatha Theri. 19. Venerable Lady Dantika Theri. 20. Venerable Lady Bonna Theri. 21. Venerable Lady Behupattika Theri. 22. Venerable Lady Midda Theri. 23. Venerable Lady Mutta Theri. 24. Venerable Lady Rohini Theri. 25. Venerable Lady Vattamata, aka Vattamatu Theri. 26. Venerable Lady Vasuti Theri. 27. Venerable Lady Vimala Theri. 28. Venerable Lady Sama Theri. 29. Venerable Lady Sisu Pachala Theri. 30. Venerable Lady Siha Theri. 31. Venerable Lady Soka Theri. 32. Venerable Lady Sujita Theri. 33. Venerable Lady Sundari Theri. 34. Venerable Lady Sumetia Theri. 35. Venerable Lady Sela Theri. 36. Venerable Lady Sama Theri. 37. Venerable Lady Anojā Devī, Theri. 38. Venerable Lady Apia, Theri. 39. Venerable Lady Apiru Panantia, Theri. 40. Venerable Lady Athakatha, Theri. 41. Venerable Lady Ambetpali, Theri. 42. Venerable Lady Asitisa, Theri. 43. Venerable Lady Uttama, Theri. 44. Venerable Lady Upajala, Theri. 45. Venerable Lady Upari, Theri. 46. Venerable Lady Supia Kamaratida, Theri. 47. Venerable Lady Supia Jivakam Bhavanika, Theri. 48. Venerable Lady Apayamita, Theri. 49. Venerable Theri Ayamata Kassapa Mata. And 50. Venerable Lady Bhaddā Theri, who was fully ordained while ordained as a Sikamana. This concludes my presentation. Thank you.